The James O'Keefe situation has been very interesting to follow. For those who might not be too familiar with who he is the founder and CEO of an organization responsible for investigative journalism and exposing high-level corruption within private and public sectors. Over the years, this organization has been involved in many investigative pieces and has exposed a number of big stories, including the reason why more people does not like and subscribe to this channel. With that said, Project V is not without its controversy. Many have blasted their aggressive nature as well as dismissed the work that they do as nothing more than right-wing propaganda. Despite what you think of them though, their work is always backed up with video evidence, and thus, opinions about their motives do not really matter. Most recently, they made massive headlines targeting Pfizer and releasing video footage of a scientist talking about the COVID vaccine and discussing how they were approaching the whole situation. In the video that was released, the scientist was allegedly heard bragging about how they were manipulating viruses in order to sell the cures for profit. Now, the story here is obviously not as black and white. When it comes to the actual video and the person alleged to be working for Pfizer as an executive, Jordan Tristan Walker, many claims that there is no real proof to suggest that he is in fact a director there, while others claim that his position has been verified. So far, I do not believe that Pfizer has denied him working there, so I will take it as true. When it comes to the actual comments, Walker said regarding how they handle the COVID virus, we're exploring, like, you know how the virus keeps mutating. Well, one of the things we're exploring is why don't we just mutate it ourselves, so that we could focus on creating and preemptively develop new vaccines. The interviewer then asked, okay, so Pfizer ultimately is thinking about mutating COVID. To this, Walker responded, well, that is not what we say to the public, no. That's why it was a thought that came up in a meeting and we were like, why do we not? The interviewer then asked, so, I mean, when is Pfizer going to implement the mutation of all these viruses? To which Walker said, I don't know, it depends on how the experiments work out because this is just something we're trying. So, the defenders of this have stated that these companies need to mutate this virus in order to better protect people, while people against all of this have stated that playing with these viruses is how we ended up with the pandemic to begin with. These large pharmaceutical companies go ahead and create the problems and then sell us the solution. It is all a scam. Now, it is up to you to decide what side of the debate you ultimately fall on. For me, I do think there is a need for experimenting, but there can be no denying that these large pharmaceutical companies engage in these highly unethical practices. I am in favor of getting ourselves vaccinated, and I do not believe that the pandemic is some sort of conspiracy, but ultimately, you are free to make up your own mind. Now, the reason why I am bringing all of this up is that it is very relevant to what is currently happening to James O'Keefe, who is currently on administrative leave from the company he founded. It was recently revealed that O'Keefe has been temporarily relieved of his duties as CEO by the board of directors and placed on paid leave. Now, the exact reason for his temporary leave of absence is still unclear, but many speculate that it is due to his bad behavior within the workplace. Apparently, he is a bully who treats his workers very poorly, and thus many within the company have started to question his leadership. James also apparently berated and fired 2 top executives, with one writing that they stood up against a bully and lost their job over it. It should be noted that the board of directors did reinstate those fired executives, showing just how much of a divide there really is. Now, many people are suspicious about the timing of this whole situation, stating that it is weird for O'Keefe to be ousted right after he broke a massive big pharma story. There is, however, also another running theory making the rounds on the internet as to why they might want to oust James O'Keefe, and that has to do with his judgment calls, including a situation where he bought a stolen diary belonging to Joe Biden's daughter allegedly. This diary story also does run very deep. 2 residents from Florida stole the diary of Ashley Biden and then tried to sell it at an auction. They originally tried to sell it to Donald Trump, but he obviously was not stupid enough to buy a stolen item from the daughter of the then former vice president and now current president. The 2 thieves were eventually caught and pleaded guilty to the charges, but that was not before they managed to sell the diary to O'Keefe allegedly. So the story goes that they stole the diary and then sold it for $40,000, and when asked to go back and steal even more items, they agreed to do so but were eventually caught and then convicted. Project V did release a statement confirming the purchase but insisted that they did not do anything illegal. They said that they had a lawful receipt for the diary and did not know it was stolen. Now, that defense is a bit strange because how else would 2 random people from Florida get the book? It is likely that they might have known that the diary could have been stolen and chose to buy it anyway. So how does this play into James O'Keefe being ousted? Well, allegedly, the board of directors questioned his decision-making around this, and from there things kind of just spiraled even further. Although O'Keefe is not out of the company yet, he might soon be, and it is very unclear what type of future they will have without him. Many say that he is the brains behind this whole thing, and without him there is nothing. He is the face of the company, and without his leadership, they cannot move forward. Now, I do not think that is true. I do believe that they will be able to continue without him. Sometimes you start a movement and then it grows bigger than just you, and for Project V, I do think that this is the case. James might have been vital to their growth and success, but he also built a company that can now stand on its own, as it should. If you have a company that revolves only around you and cannot survive if you are not there, well then you did not do a very good job as a leader. Many people might be sad to see him go, but it is also important to understand that it is not about any one person, but rather the work that they do.